Good afternoon, everybody. Please settle down. So we have with us Ma'am Shikha Goyal. Ma'am is Director ACB Telangana. Ma'am is going to hold the final session of today's day-long national conference. I extend a very warm welcome to you, ma'am, on behalf of DG BPR&D for the final session of today's national conference, which is being held on the topic of women's safety and security at public and workplaces. This is the final session of the conference. Prior to lunch, we had two sessions, and yours is the final session, ma'am. Ma'am is going to speak on women's safety and security at workplaces. I want to give a brief introduction of ma'am. Ma'am is 1994 batch IPS officer from Andhra Pradesh cadre, and she has studied from Delhi University. Ma'am has taken up many initiatives during her policing career for creating awareness about child sexual abuse and for empowering women. She is known for her initiatives like Women on Wheels, Bharosa, and She Teams, to name a few. Ma'am, as I said, is presently holding the charge of Director ACB Telangana. Ma'am has accomplished many important assignments during her policing careers. She has been posted in various wings of police department, and some key postings that she has held, apart from being SPCID Hyderabad, she has been Additional Director ACB, she has been IG CID Telangana, and she has also served in CISF as IG. In her 27 years long policing career, she has been involved in tackling terrorism in J&K and also the Naxal problem in Andhra Pradesh. She has investigated many sensational cases during her career. Ma'am has had a very, very meritorious policing career, and she has been awarded many commendation certificates, awards, and medals. To name a few, she has been awarded the National Police Academy Director's Commendation Medal. She has been awarded the Alak Sinha Trophy for investigation. She is a holder of President's Police Medal for Meritorious Service and also the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Services. Ma'am, I welcome you again. For today's topic, we could not have had a better speaker than ma'am. I also invite you to come to the dais, ma'am. I'm sorry, I should have invited you before I started the introduction. So welcome, ma'am. Welcome once again. So ma'am would be speaking on women's safety and security at workplaces. I hand over the session to ma'am. Over to ma'am, Shikha Goyal ma'am, who is Director ACB Telangana at present.
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। लंच के बाद का सेशन थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है ना? वो लग रहा है मुझे, एंड आई थिंक ये सारा वगैरह ने खाना वाना भी कुछ ज्यादा अच्छा खिला दिया। जब मैंने वहाँ मेन्यू देखा तो लंबा चौड़ा दिख रहा था, सो आई वाज अ लिटिल क्वाइट वरीड कि भाई अब आप लोगों को जगा के रखने का क्या तरीका करना पड़ेगा। तो है कि अब मैं सीधा हैदराबाद से आ रही हूँ, तो मैं तो अब बोलूंगी, हाँ, और अब आपको सुनना भी पड़ेगा। Yeah? So all of us are up and awake? Okay, great. Thank you. So, I'm actually technically challenged. I just have to see how do I go. Does my slide come or not come? What do I have to press? You tell me. What do I press here? Acha, you want me to use here? इस पे करना है? Okay, thank you. ये ना पुराने जमाने का, पिछले जनरेशन के होने का ये प्रॉब्लम है. Okay. So first of all, I thank BPR&D for giving me this opportunity today. And I wish all of you who are present today here a very happy International Women's Day and a very special every day. Not only one day, a very special every day. Uh, I usually do not read my slides. So slides please देखते रहना मेरी. I usually don't मतलब पढ़ती नहीं हूँ मैं उसमें से आगे से I'll keep speaking. So, but this I found really interesting because we want to reach a stage where we'll be just leaders, not women leaders or female leaders. We have to reach that point, and that point will come. They say that if the number of women in any organization, if they reach, say, about approximately 20 to 25%, if women, then the workplace itself very automatically turns into a woman. You see, you have examples in the banking sector and especially ICI banks and all, which the workplace becomes more woman centric than anything else. So एक वो tipping point होता है, हम 50% नहीं चाहिए होता, हम मतलब 50% पे पहुंचने के बाद हम तो 20-25 पे ही हम लोग जमा लेंगे अपनी, ठीक है? So we need that kind of number so that, and always, I've always believed and I always told my lady officers who come to me is that we are officers first and gender is later. So which is very important for us to keep in mind, especially when we are in the police. So safety at workplace is not only sexual violence. I will come to sexual harassment and sexual thing later, but it is a very vast topic. So I'll, in the interest of brevity, I will only try to cover some very important aspects today. क्योंकि वैसे ही दोपहर हो चुकी है और आपका valediction और all of you want to be going back in time. Now, some of you may be aware that there is a national policy on safety, health and environment at workplace. पता है कितनों को पता है कि ऐसी कोई पॉलिसी है? पता है तो जरा हाथ उठाना यार. बस एक ही दिख रहा है मुझे तो. How many of you know that there is a policy? 1, 2, 3, 4. मतलब less than 10 ही लग रहा है. Okay. Now, this basic policy is from the directive principles of the state policy as well as Article 14 of the Constitution, which is the guiding force behind it. But as we can see from this room only, very few people know it. And even if though the policy exists, 2014 and 15, almost about 6,000 people lost their life at their workplaces. I'm not talking about women right now, I'm talking about general, because we're talking about safety. And women presently in India, about 20% in the labor force. I'm talking overall, not police. Police, though we are quite low. 10-15% is maximum we've been going. So there is a fair probability that in 6,000 mein se, some of them would be women. And a study by the ILO actually says in 2017 that it was not 6,000 but 48,000. But I'm going by the figures which have been told to us by the, our NCRB. Now, previous slide I told you that directive principles of state policy was the one which guides us. Now, these are the directives of the Constitution. What is expected that the government or the states, what should we try to work for? What is required or what should be our aim? किसी भी चीज के लिए एक aim, एक goal तो जरूरी है. अगर life में aim या goal किसी चीज के लिए भी हो, चाहे अपनी personal life हो, चाहे professional life हो, चाहे कोई policy हो, चाहे कोई organization हो, for everything you need to have something, a aim or a goal. So what should we be aiming for? So, basically, what is the requirement? That you secure the health and strength of the employees, all employees, irrespective of gender, prevent abuse of children. There's a huge topic about child labor, which we are not covering here today, but आप तो सबको पता है, और आप में से बहुत सारे वो साल में 2 बार ऑपरेशन मुस्कान और ऑपरेशन स्माइल में पार्टिसिपेट करते होंगे, करते हैं कि उन्होंने सुना हुआ होगा, तो वो बच्चों को रेस्क्यू करने के लिए. It also says that we don't force citizens into such economic activities which are unsuited for their age, one, and second, also their strength. It's not only age which is a thing. Then it talks about conducive working environment. What is humane and just? Basically, conducive working environment. And then it also says that the government should make suitable legislations so that they can empower the employees' participation in management. Matlab, you have to have some kind of the employee should have something to some stake in the management of the organization. I'm not, it could be by way of a union where many private sectors or many public sectors have, or it could be at least some kind of a grievance redressal mechanism. Now, as functionaries of the Constitution, after all, police, we are a government service, and so we are part which implements all the laws and all which exist. It is, we need to be sensitive that these are the rights of citizens and workers and children, and see that we ensure that they are followed. So for us, it is two things. We talking about, एक तो हमारे अपने अपने राइट्स अपने लिए जो हम लोग कर रहे हैं एज अ पुलिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, and second is of also our duty towards other citizens, because you have to take place of all workplaces of all other people or all other women, not only your own workplace. तो आपका रोल सिर्फ अपनी वर्कप्लेस से नहीं है, आपका रोल सबकी वर्कप्लेस से है. So I'll just show you a small video. How does he, can I click here only to start it, or how does it start? I click here only? Double click? हाँ, बंद करने. यूट्यूब पे चले जाओ सीधा लिंक से, ये रहा ना नेटवर्क कनेक्ट. So technology has its own hiccups. Yeah. Add. I don't, पूरा मुझे नहीं दिखाना, थोड़ा सा ही दिखा के बंद कर देंगे, टाइम वेस्ट. Yeah, start. Sound. Volume. यहाँ पे ही ऑफ था. Volume. स्टॉप कर.
ये वाला ना,
यहाँ
एक मिनट
यहाँ पे
एक
वॉल्यूम
एक
ऑफ
मिनट तुम दबाइए, यहाँ पे आ रहा था ना, एक सेकंड सॉरी.
है. ये वॉल्यूम ऑफ है. या शुरू करें, शुरू से रहे. आई एम फीलिंग अ लिटिल बेटर. मैं अकेली नहीं हूँ. This is video to show you how unsafe a workplace can be. dangerous.
No one plans on having an accident. Least of all this trivial thing. A door causes an accident? Well, you never know. It's a slinger. What can I say?
इसीलिए मेरे ख्याल से पुलिस में हर ऑफिस के दरवाजे में छोटा सा शीशा लगा रहता है. अंग्रेजों को समझ नहीं आई बात.
But women cabins aren't like doors. They don't swing at all. They're square. Just sit there and slide. Yeah.
Can we stop it? Can we stop it? तो ये है लंबा सा वीडियो, किसी को देखना है 8 मिनट का और देख लेना. बट many of मतलब इसमें देख के कितनी बारी दरवाजे में हाथ आया होगा. नॉर्मल सा चीज है. यू कितने लोग कभी अपनी टेबल में हुए होंगे, कभी स्टेयर से स्लिप डाउन हो जाते हैं. तो it's not that it's it shows in a funny way, but safety issues at workplace, they can also have very tragic consequences. Bhopal gas tragedy, 15,000 लोग मरे, 5 लाख घायल. 2020 में we had a LPG gas leak in Vizag. Lot of panic it created. So safe workplace is not only something which is important for the safety of your employees, but it also has a very large consequences otherwise. It's skipping a slide. एक slide skip कर रहा है. इसके बाद नहीं, इसके साथ नहीं है. It's skipping a slide. Anyway, so I'll come to this slide in a little while. उससे पहले is now these which I told you was incidents at accidents sort of things which happen at a workplace. But there are also very many other incidents which have taken place at workplaces, which have had serious consequences, and especially for women. आप में से कितनों ने अरुणा शॉनबाग का केस सुना है 1973 का? बहुत सारे आप में से पैदा भी नहीं हुए होंगे तब तक. हाँ, सो अरुणा एक 26-year-old नर्स थी एक हॉस्पिटल में. एक दिन नाइट ड्यूटी के दौरान वहां पे जो अटेंडर था, he tried to rob her, molest her, और डॉग चेन से उसके को दबाया उसने, उसके गले को. सो उसके दिमाग पे जो ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई है वो कट ऑफ हो गया. एंड देन शी वेंट इनटू कोमा एंड she remained in this vegetative state for 40 years. And finally, she passed away in 2015. Where was she? She was in the hospital. What was the hospital? Her workplace. Was her workplace safe? She was doing night duty at her workplace. What had the hospital done to ensure that women who are there at night are safe? Safe from their own other colleagues. This is a very, very famous case. इसमें बहुत सारे issues हुए. This being one, talking about euthanasia and all. I'm not going into it. उसके बाद भंवरी देवी का केस कितनों को पता है राजस्थान का? तुमको तो पता है यार, मैं बच्चों से पूछ रही हूँ. How many of you know? और भी नहीं पता भंवरी देवी का भी पता है ना? ना उस भंवरी देवी का केस था जिससे विशाखा गाइडलाइंस बनी, जो अब फिर बाद में पॉश एक्ट भी बना. बट व्हाट वाज भंवरी देवी का? शी वाज वर्किंग इन अ वुमेन्स डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट इन राजस्थान. बेसिकली चाइल्ड मैरिज के खिलाफ काम कर रही थी. 1992 में शी वाज गैंग रेप्ड because people did not like her work of trying to prevent child marriage in Rajasthan. उस समय की this was one of the most complex investigation to the extent कि even FBI came into the picture because the dental analysis was done by FBI in this case. And ultimately कोर्ट ने ये उस केस में कोर्ट ने ये कहा कि भंवरी देवी एक एम्प्लॉई थी और जो विलेज था जिसमें वो काम कर रही थी वो उसका वर्क प्लेस था. तो वर्क प्लेस का ये मतलब नहीं कि ये चार दीवारों के बीच में आप जहां बैठ रही हैं वही आपका वर्क प्लेस है. So that is something which is very important for all of us to understand, because we are not talking about what our own workplaces, we are also talking about as police officers about workplaces of all other women, because आपकी responsibility ये है कि उनकी सब workplaces भी safe हों. तो आपको clarity होना चाहिए कि ये नहीं कि बस इन चार दीवारी के अंदर बैठ के कुछ हुआ तो वही workplace है, उससे बाहर निकल के कुछ हुआ तो वो workplace नहीं है. That's very important for you to understand. और अभी रिसेंटली पंजाब से कितने लोग हैं यहाँ पे? आया है कोई? ओके. सो रिसेंटली आजकल रोपड़ का वो केस चल रहा है. रोपड़ का केस पता है? वेयर इन प्रिंसिपल हैज अब्यूज्ड चिल्ड्रन एट स्कूल. स्कूल इज व्हाट हिज वर्क प्लेस फॉर मोर देन 7 years. 7 साल से ही हैज बीन अब्यूजिंग चिल्ड्रन, एंड इट हैज come out of after 12 years what he did 12 years back. So for all of us, we have to see that our workplaces first question is for us to understand, is our workplace safe? Is it safe for the petitioners who come to us? Is it safe for ourselves and our colleagues? And you need to be very extremely sensitive to all these issues, so that when you go back, you have to look at your own workplace and other workplaces. All these type of issues, I have just named 2-3, but every other day these type of issues keep happening and recurring, and this is something which also prevents women to actually come out to become equal, their upliftment उस पे भी असर पड़ता है. A number of women are afraid at times to leave their homes and start working at some places. जब आप में से आप लोगों ने पुलिस ज्वाइन की होगी तो काफी सोचा होगा कि इट्स सच अ मेल डोमिनेटेड, इसमें इस सर्विस में जाना चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए, सोचा होगा ना. आप में से कितने ऐसे हैं जिनके फैमिली में कोई पुलिस में था पहले ऑलरेडी, फादर, कोई भी जान, कोई बचे हुए आप लोग सब फर्स्ट टाइमर्स हैं, मैं भी फर्स्ट टाइमर हूं. तो पुलिस में जाने का फैसला जब करा होगा तो इट वुड बी, इट्स अ वेरी कॉन्शियस डिसीजन कि आप पुलिस में, सब लोग बोलते हैं ना मेल डोमिनेटेड है, ये है, कैसे करेंगे काम, वो एक हिचक रहती है ना मन में. इशू क्या है? यू आर ओनली वरीड अबाउट दैट वेदर यू विल बी सेफ and secure. The other part of being it's a tough duty is a separate thing. The first thing which comes to mind is, will I be safe in a male dominated environment? Isn't it? Yes? उठ जाओ यार, सो मत, जिसको भी नींद आ रही है. So what the slide which is there is what an employer can do to make their workplace safe. So these are something which the FICCI has put. You can see it on the FICCI website also, that what employers can do. There's so many things which an employer can do to see that their workplaces are safe. For example, just one example, these days CCTVs are the flavor of the season. For example, CCTV. Now, if that hospital in 1973 had CCTV and other security arrangements, it was quite possible that Aruna might have been safe, because there is a deterrent. Somebody may, that CCTV का coverage है तो थोड़ा डर होता किसी को कुछ करने से पहले, and especially a co-employee who knows that the place is covered by a CCTV. और suppose भंवरी देवी की विलेज में कम से कम निकलने जाने का एग्जिट एंट्री रूट पे अगर सीसीटीवी का रोड पे कवरेज होता तो मे बी और कुछ नहीं तो केस जल्दी डिटेक्ट हो जाता. These days we are using CCTVs for all crime investigations and all, so much. And Supreme Court has also talked about CCTVs. We have now CCTVs in our police stations. आप लोगों के यहाँ police stations में है CCTV? Yeah. So most, I think because it's the guideline of Supreme Court, most of our police stations now have CCTV. And as far as I come from Telangana, my cadre initially was Andhra Pradesh, now it is Telangana. In Telangana, in Hyderabad, where I was till 2 months back, I was additional CP crime in Hyderabad City Police. So we are among the top 10 cities in the world as far as CCTV penetration is concerned. So it can be such a game changer, the presence of a CCTV in a workplace. Then another thing is verification. As you all know, हम लोग police में when we come, proper verification, job verification होती है. Many in the private sector also undergo this verification. But बहुत सारे जो informal sectors हैं, there the mechanism of verifications are not there. ज़्यादातर नहीं होता है. अब हमारे स्टेट में तो we have got an app through which, for the convenience of the employer, so that they can get online verification of people to be done. So this is another important thing which can be done. Then traveling to and fro, and especially now in the last few years, especially in the IT sector, where the working hours, the concept of night shift is there, and large number of girls and women work. There, the safety while they travel and the concept of, as I said, workplace is not limited to the four walls. तो जो रास्ते में वो जो आती हैं, उसकी safety is also very, very critical. So, like what we do is that we have tied up with this cab aggregators, the Ola, Uber, everyone, and we can track the location of the cab in the police for the safety. Then we have made it mandatory for having QR codes there, driver registration, so that somebody can just scan and send a message to us. And so many other things to see that the women feel safe while going and coming back from their workplaces. Very important part is awareness and training. You'll be surprised ki when I just as recently as 3 years back, when I became additional CP in Hyderabad City Police, we had all complaints committee, everything we had. But nobody knew कि उनको करना क्या है. ना उनको खुद पता था कि उन्हें क्या करना है, और औरों को तो पता ही नहीं था कि वो एग्जिस्ट भी करती हैं. Okay. Then all the training and all जो है gender sensitization की, you must have experienced that when we call for nomination of gender sensitization training, more often than not, everybody nominates you. आप में से सबने gender sensitization की training करी होगी, करी है? तो अब gender sensitize हमें होना है या men को होना है? जो भी organization को देखो, जब भी nomination, I'm sure when BPR&D also asks for nomination, the maximum number of participants would actually be women. So these are things which we need to look into. So we have to make sure that all employees and are given these kind of trainings. The POSH thing, it's not only for women. This is something which everybody who works should know, so that people know what the act is, what it implies. There are a large number of people who don't even know what it implies. And so when you move around, you should be aware yourself and see that others around you get aware. But you can ask me ki, what does police have to do as far as safety of workplace is involved? Do we really have any role? है हमारा रोल या नहीं है? है क्या रोल है हमारा, बताइए? What is our role? Yeah, why? How do we come into picture as far as workplace safety is concerned? Anyone? Hmm. Or we talking about more safety vis-a-vis the employees, not women, with employees. और बताएं? पहले 2 सेशन में सब बोल लिए. Running out of ideas या afternoon slumber? So how do we come, or why is it important for us? How does the police come into it? Yeah, backbenchers. Last, बताइए. हाँ वो सब ठीक है, मैं तो ये बोल रही हूँ वर्क प्लेस सेफ्टी हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है भी या नहीं है ना? Okay. So basically the one thing is that if any incident takes place anywhere, burden तो किस पे पड़ना है? अब चाहे भोपाल में गैस लीक हो, चाहे हॉस्पिटल में रेप हो, आना किसके ऊपर है? बोलिए बोलिए, किस पे आना है? ओके, तो इसीलिए तो उनके वर्क प्लेस सेफ होने ना. तो अगर उनके वर्क प्लेस सेफ होंगे तो हमारा बर्डन कम होगा. फिर नहीं होगा एक्सीडेंट, फिर नहीं होगा रेप, फिर नहीं होगा सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट. So for us, that is important because everywhere we come into the picture. So if incident will happen, then press will come, organizations will come, dharna will happen. So investigation, everything comes. No, everything, ultimately it will boil down to us, will it not? Yeah. Yes, भी अब बहुत धीरे हो गया. बिल्कुल सही बोला उन्होंने, बिल्कुल एग्जैक्टली सेम, बिल्कुल सही बोला. इसीलिए मैंने क्या बोला, मैंने बोला जब जेंडर सेंसिटाइजेशन की ट्रेनिंग होती है तो नॉमिनेशन किसका चला जाता है. हाँ, तो इसीलिए मैंने बोला कि ये बहुत जरूरी है. जो तुमने बोला वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ऑल्दो वो मेरे टॉपिक से थोड़ा हल्का है, अलग है, बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट वर्क प्लेस सेफ्टी, बट क्योंकि तुमने रेज किया इसलिए बहुत जरूरी है. बट एक चीज ये बिल्कुल वैलिड पॉइंट है, बट एक चीज, क्योंकि आज हम लोग सब लेडीज इस रूम में हैं, एक बारी ये बात जरूर ध्यान रखना कि हम लोग एज मदर्स, एज सिस्टर्स, एज डॉटर्स, हम लोग अपने घर में तो कुछ हल्के हल्के चीजों से इसको बढ़ावा तो नहीं देते हैं. ओ, सुनो, तुम अकेली समझा रही होगी, मैं तो सबसे पूछ रही हूँ, मैं नहीं डाउट कर रही तुम समझा रही हो. बट आर देयर, क्या कितनी बारी हमने अपनी बेटी को बोला होगा कि लड़कियां ऐसे नहीं बैठती. सटल है, बहुत सटल है, मैं नहीं बोल रही गलत है ये. कितनी बारी बोला होगा बेटे को कि अरे लड़कियों जैसे क्यों रो रहा है. नहीं बोला क्या कभी? बोला ना? पक्का? मैं डाइग्रेस कर रही हूँ सारा, जस्ट फॉर 1 सेकेंड, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट माई टॉपिक, बट आई विल जस्ट टेल यू कि आई विल नेम मैं 4 साल पहले मैं यहाँ पे दिल्ली में CISF में थी. मैं 6 साल यहाँ पे, आई वॉज ऑन डेपुटेशन विद द CISF. CISF से कोई आया हुआ है यहाँ पे? या सो आई वॉज ऑन डेपुटेशन विद द CISF. उस समय मेरे बच्चे दिल्ली के एक बड़े फेमस एलीट स्कूल में पढ़ते थे, और मेरी बेटी उस वक्त शी वॉज इन नर्सरी. यहाँ पे मैं जब आई तभी वो स्कूल उसने ज्वाइन किया. तो आई जस्ट डाइग्रेस वंस एंड टेल, जो आप बोल रही हैं उसके ऊपर, कि उसको जो गर्मियों की जब छुट्टी हुई तो वो स्कूल एक वो पेपर दे देता है ना, एक्टिविटीज, बच्चा को छुट्टी घर में बैठ के एक्टिविटीज कराते रहिए, कुछ कुछ करा दीजिए. तो उसमें 2 एक्टिविटी थी. एक थी हेल्प डैड वॉश द कार, और दूसरी एक्टिविटी थी हेल्प, मतलब बहुत सारी थी, 2 बता रही हूं. हेल्प मॉम सेट अप द टेबल. व्हाट डज दैट मीन? इज दिस नॉट स्टीरियोटाइपिंग कि डैड तो ऑफिस जाएंगे, उनको गाड़ी धुलाने में उनकी हेल्प करेंगे, और घर में टेबल लगाने का काम मम्मी का है. तो सीरियस टाइपिंग हो गया ना वहां. एंड दिस इज वन ऑफ द वेरी गुड स्कूल्स, एंड आई देन टोल्ड द क्लास टीचर व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. यू डोंट रियलाइज व्हाट यू आर टेलिंग अ नर्सरी चाइल्ड. उसके दिमाग में हमेशा बैठ जाएगा कि डैड का वो काम है, मम्मा का ये काम है. सो दीज आर वेरी स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग्स. जो आप बोल रही हो वो बड़ी बात है, मैं बोल रही हूँ छोटी छोटी. और ये बहुत चीजें हम लोग कई बारी खुद भी करते रहते हैं, होता है. Not that आप consciously कर रहे हैं, but because the way you have grown up, I'll come to why things happen. But I'm saying, very, very correct. As I said, a lot of time we put restrictions on our daughter. शाम को इतने बजे तक घर जाना है, रात को ये नहीं करना, फलाना ढिमकाना. वही restrictions अगर बेटों पे लगाएं तो शायद बेटियां बाहर जा सकती हैं, है ना? और सिर्फ बेटे को हमेशा यही सिखाना ना कि माँ और बहन की रिस्पेक्ट करनी. माँ बहन के अलावा भी और लेडीज हैं तो वो यही बोलता है माँ बहन की करता हूँ, सब औरों की नहीं करता हूँ. Okay, so these are small little things which matter, and not my subject, but I just wanted to put in because she has raised the point. All of us somewhere at times do things which create this thing. So it is very important that we are conscious of it. ना हम करें, ना अपने आसपास होने दें और लोगों को समझाएं. और yes, हम में से बहुत इस पोजीशन पे हर कोई, देखिए हर कोई ये बोलता है कि ऊपर वाला करता है, अपने लेवल पे भी बहुत कुछ हम लोग कर सकते हैं. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी कॉन्शियस ऑफ व्हाट वी डू व्हेन वी आर विद अ टीम और लीडिंग अ टीम. ओके, सो आई विल कम बैक टू माय टॉपिक इज दैट, सो आई सेड व्हाई इट इज पुलिस. सो आप देख रहे थे कि जैसे मैंने कहा कि कुछ भी अगर होगा तो अल्टीमेटली हमारे ऊपर ही आने वाला है. ओके, now what are the different types of harassment which can happen on the workplace? So your slide says that we we especially need to understand कि किसी भी employer has lot of power on his employee, you know, and therefore it has a very large capacity to cause huge harm to any person. It can be in any form, but that is something which we need to realize. So what can be the different types of vulnerabilities or things which can happen on a workplace? Sexual one is only one of them. I'll come to them as we move ahead. But it can be racism, casteism, gender based. हर तरह के in your environment छोटे छोटे गुट बन जाते हैं. हर तरह से सब हम सब ने देखे हैं, कम्युनिटी के हिसाब से, कास्ट के हिसाब से, वो सब बनता रहता है. सबसे ज्यादा sad is definitely the one which is related to gender, the sexual based violence. And all these, even if it is anything which comes with caste or racism, all of them, many of them, then fall also under the IPC. So fir, again, we get connected, and it becomes important for us to be there. So now I'll come to the sexual harassment. पहले तो ये बताइए पॉश एक्ट है ये कितनों को पता है यहाँ पे रूम में? How many of you are aware of the POSH Act? Or how many of you are aware? Raise your hands. There is an act called the POSH Act. Only 2-3 people. You really don't know, or you don't want to tell, or what is it? You not aware what a POSH Act is? Yeah. You know? You don't know? How many of you don't know? ओके, तो आपका जो जवाब कि ऐसी ट्रेनिंग में लड़कियां भी जहां कभी जरूरी है वो जरूरी है. अब इस हॉल में बैठी हुई अगर, I mean, if you're not raising hand, I think almost 70% of you don't even know that there is a POSH Act, which means that first of all, we all need to, so, there has to be trainings and awareness for everyone. For us, अगर हमें पता ही नहीं कि कोई एक्ट एग्जिस्ट करता है हमारी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए, तो सामने वाले को खाली ट्रेनिंग देने से क्या होगा? पहले अपने को भी तो पता होना ना कि अपने राइट्स हैं क्या है. अब ये तो पता है कि आजकल कौन सा मतलब कौन सा स्टाइल चल रहा है, कौन सी पिक्चर चल रही है, कौन सा शेड चल रहा है, ये सब हमको सबको पता है. लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड क्या है, बट ये नहीं पता कि हम नौकरी करते हैं और एक देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड प्रिवेंशन, प्रोहिबिशन, redressal act for sexual harassment at workplace. So that is extremely important. So in fact, I thought I'll skip the slide, but I'll tell you. So there is an act of 2013. Okay, prevention, prohibition, and redressal of sexual harassment at workplace. Now, what is sexual harassment? How is it defined? I put it on the slide, which means that any one or more of whatever I have there, मतलब इनमें से एक या एक से ज्यादा कोई भी चीज हो which are unwelcome acts and behavior, physical contact and advances, or demand or request for sexual favors, or making sexually colored remarks, or showing pornography, or any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. Any